Hey, it's meteorologist Cory Reppenhagen with the 9 News Weather Impact Team. Thanks for joining us here for a little bit of a look at the forecast. It's a hot day out there for your Labor Day, already up there into the 90s in some areas, so it's going to be super hot. Really got a barn burner on our hands here. 91 degrees at Denver International Airport already. So the temperature is going to soar for a couple more hours. If you're wondering, the record for today is 100 degrees, so I don't think it's going to soar that much, but it looks like we're going to get at least another degree or two out of this, getting up into possibly the middle 90s today. It's 88 degrees here at the 9 News studio here at 2 o'clock and 88 degrees in Central Park as well. So the forecast is 92, so we only got one more degree to go to get to that forecast high temperature here in Denver, so we'll have no problem getting to that, and we may go over that a degree or two here as the clouds are just starting to move in. Probably got another couple hours of heating on our hands here. So your forecast high temperatures for the rest of the state. Warm all across the eastern plains there, maybe a little bit of a break towards the southeast. The mountains are starting to cloud up already, so they may have already hit most of their high temperatures for today. And another hot day in the 90s out on the western slope. And here's the forecast for the next 12 hours through Denver. We'll hit that high temperature around 3 o'clock, which will be 92, looks like maybe 93 or 94 possibly, and then start to cool down as those clouds start to appear in the area. That's something we haven't had for the last couple of days, is some little bit of cloud cover early on in the afternoon, and we should get that today to take some of the edge off of that high heat that we have going on this Labor Day. Down to 77 degrees by 9 o'clock. Relatively warm night once again, possibly staying above 60 degrees, actually likely staying above 60 degrees this morning for your Tuesday morning, which will launch us into another hot one. So we just hit 90 degrees here in Denver International Airport. That means it's the first in September and the 56th now total for the year. And you know, we're projecting 60 in total, so we're already at 56. We know we have number 57 on the way coming tomorrow, and so that just gives you a clue there. We're almost to the end of the tunnel here when it comes to 90-degree days. We really don't see too many 90-degree days very often here in the month of September, and in fact, on average, in an average September, the final 90-degree day comes on September the 5th. So that's right around the corner. But remember last year, the last day of September, it hit 91 degrees, which was the latest 90-degree day in Denver in 132 years. Apparently, it did hit 90 degrees once in October in the 1800s. Now, I'm pretty suspicious of that temperature reading there, because they did take those high temperatures in inaccurate locations, and some parts of the late 1800s, before the Weather Service, or the Weather Bureau, what was called at the time, took over. So it's safe to say we don't get 90-degree days in October. At least we haven't yet, except for that one anomaly back 132 years ago. The heat is combining with some gusty winds and some low relative humidity, and that is creating a little bit of some fire weather in our area. The entire area has elevated fire weather conditions, but in particular just to the east of the Denver metro area, in parts of East Adams and East Arapahoe counties, there is a warning in place, a fire weather warning, sometimes known as a red flag warning, until 8 o'clock tonight for wind gusts 35 miles per hour and the relative humidity near 12%. So as far as those wind gusts, we know the humidity levels are already near critical, down below 15%, but Not all the entire area will have those wind gusts. You can see kind of in the Denver metro area, it's a little less windy. Those wind gusts are not as prevalent. We're in a little bit of a wind donut hole here when it comes to this scenario. Most of the higher winds are out on the eastern plains, and you can see the areas out there in East Arapahoe and Adams County where they're talking about where those winds would be just a little bit stronger, and they could increase in the late evening and early part of the nighttime hours, and finally not subsiding until about 2 a.m. We could see a gust or two here in the Denver area reach above 20 miles per hour, but in general we're staying in the what I would call breezy conditions here in the Denver metro area. So as far as your precipitation, the rain forecast, we won't see any of that on the east side of the state, but in the mountains we're seeing again a little bit of isolated rain showers starting to develop, some low-grade thunderstorms that won't last very long, not putting down too much water, but they're just isolated enough to impact a few people as we go through the day all the way through 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and there you see by 8:30 those showers will dissipate, and the clouds also noticeable on the Front Range. We'll take a little bit closer look at the Front Range here as we go through. We'll see those showers developing over the next 30-40 minutes here. We do see those clouds already showing in the foothills and part of the Front Range mountains, and those showers will remain light and isolated as we go through the afternoon till 4:30. Same scenario between 4:30 and 8 before those showers dissipate. And on the Front Range here in the Denver metro area, you see those clouds. The cloud cover could stay at least partially cloud covered by between about 3 and 8 p.m. And so that'll give you just a little bit of a break from the high heat that we accumulated over the afternoon hours. And then Tuesday, we'll add a couple more degrees, already looking like it could hit 94 today, but the forecast for tomorrow is 94, and it could potentially rise a degree or two above that. And the record is a little bit lower for Tuesday. I believe it's 97, so a little bit closer to reach, but not likely in the forecast. But that is some very high heat for early September for your Tuesday. And by the way, this is an interesting stat that we'll be tracking and keeping an eye on. The last time it dropped below 50 degrees in Denver was May 31st, which was 94 days ago. And that is super unusual and in record territory. These are the 5 longest streaks of consecutive days above 49. So 1933, it didn't drop into the 40s for 109 days. If we can get through this cold front, which is coming up on Wednesday, lowering the temperatures on Thursday and Friday, we'll probably make that list, if not be on top of it with the record longest streak above 49 degrees here in Denver. And here's the jet stream forecast to kind of show you what the chances of that happening are. Now, the ridge of high pressure here has been responsible for the heat in not only the daytime but also the morning over the last few days, and we'll have one more hot day tomorrow. But as we put the computer simulation into motion, you see that trough of low pressure just coming up from the northwest there. Not a super beefy looking trough, but it is just far enough south and organized enough to impact the state of Colorado with some rain showers and a cold front be slipping through there on Wednesday afternoon. And that should give us some pretty widespread rain showers here on the Front Range. And we all have a decent shot at picking up some rain. Not everybody, but a good portion of us. And then if you look off to the southwest there's another ridge of high pressure that will start to build as soon as this front goes through, and that will warm us up once again. So all that information is reflected on the 7-day forecast here. Looking at Wednesday first, and that's when the front comes through, 65% coverage with those rain showers. So that's the percentage of people that will have the potential to get a measurable rainfall, which is, by the way, that is a hundredth of an inch or more you can expect out of that. That's what those probabilities are pointing towards. And so on Thursday, that's the day that it'll feel like fall, because the north winds will just have a cool tinge to it, and they'll be continuous through the day, and they may keep our temperatures down below 80 degrees, and we have the forecast at 79 right now. There is a slight chance that some of that moisture could linger into the day on Thursday and give a brief isolated shower, but not looking at too much precipitation on Thursday. It looks like a one-day event for the most part. And then Friday, we start to rebound with some sunny skies, getting into another warm and dry weekend ahead. And it looks like that next trough of low pressure could hold into the beginning of next week before we get our next opportunity for a cool down. Thanks for tuning in to this forecast, and enjoy the rest of your Labor Day.